Alright guys, welcome back to another operaomnia video where we are going to talk about the brand new character arriving to global operaomnia, which is going to be Final Fantasy VII's Kadaj. We're going to talk about his entire kit, but I'm going to do something a little bit different in this video. I'm gonna kind of experiment and see what you guys think about it, and I'd appreciate the feedback because I want to know if you guys would prefer this style of in-depth videos, or if you would continue, or if you want me to continue doing the in-depth videos that I normally do, which is reading off what each of the skills that the character does, you know, so on and so forth, and then at the end of the video, or towards the end of the video, I give you guys my honest opinions. What I want to do in this video is pretty much condense all of that. I want to be able to, instead of reading off the entire list of information of what said character does, what this skill does, I want to condense it all and just get straight to the point and be like, okay, skill 1, it does this, this, and this. If it has a stacking mechanic, then I'll let you know that it does this, this, and this, right? If the LD or the EX does this and this, you know, I'll let you know specifically that, hey, this is the main thing that you need to worry about with this ability. You know, that's something that I want to get straight to the point, so that way, one, the video won't be that tremendous, it won't be long, right? And then two, you guys will know exactly what you need to know for said characters, or said new character, or said characters changes. So I'd appreciate the feedback if you guys want me to continue this new style of in-depth videos, or if you want me to continue the old style. I'd greatly appreciate you guys letting me know. But yeah, we're gonna talk about Kadaj's entire kit, and then of course I'll let you guys know on how I feel about him and whether or not you should pull for. Well, actually, you guys know how you know how I feel about it. You guys will be able to determine whether or not you should pull for Kadaj's kit. So we're going to talk about all of that in this video. So as always, if you guys do enjoy the video, consider liking it, subscribing, doing all that good stuff. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's talk about Kadaj's entire kit. So Kadaj's kit is mainly based around his Obsession debuff, which is a stackable debuff with a max stacks of 5. Now each stacks has a different effect. Also, effects are based on the stack count, and if not targeted by the inflictor, it returns to 1 stack. Now usually whenever you start off with Kadaj, it is best to start off with his skill 1, because you inflict the enemies with 1 stack of the Obsession debuff for 2 actions. Now for 1 stack, whenever you are recovering Brave, it reduces the Brave recovered by 50% and passes that reduced amount to Kadaj. At 2 stacks, they get a 20% defense down. At 3 stacks, they get a 20% attack down. At 4 stacks, they get a 20% physical defense down. And then at 5 stacks, after Kadaj uses HP attack on the target, it triggers the Eclipse, excluding chase sequence, and only occurs once per turn. And that is a 4-hit melee Brave plus HP attack with 120% overflow, and recovers Brave to himself based on 30% of the HP damage dealt. Now whenever you also use his skill 1, he also gives himself a buff called the Inner Thoughts, which gives him a 40% attack up and max Brave up, and a 30% initial Brave up, and he also gets a self Brave regen. His skill 2 is a 4-hit melee Brave plus HP attack compared to his skill 1, which is actually a 3-hit AoE melee Brave plus an AoE HP attack. It does deal 20% splash damage to other targets, but it inflicts 2 stacks of the Obsession debuffs to the target for 2 actions, so it only focuses on the single target instead of everybody, and it also grants him the Inner Thoughts buff to himself for 3 actions. His EX ability, which has some gravity to it because it sets all enemies Brave to 0. It is a 4-hit AoE melee Brave plus an AoE HP attack dealt 2 times with 150% stolen Brave, max Brave overflow, and it deals split HP damage. It inflicts the Stigma debuff to targets for 3 actions, and 1 stack of the Obsession debuff for 2 actions. Now the debuff Stigma is a sap effect, a 20% attack down, and a 20% Brave damage taken up. And while active, the existing debuffs by Kadaj cannot be dispelled. So basically, after you use his EX ability, both Stigma and the Obsession debuff, which is the stackable debuff, now has the golden frame above it. So now it will not be able to get cleansed in any sort of way possible. Finally, we'll talk about his LD ability, which is a 4-hit melee brave plus HP attack dealt 3 times, which recovers brave in between those HP attacks. Now, it also inflicts 2 stacks of the Obsession debuffs to target for 4 actions, and he also has another stacking mechanic, but this time it is to himself, which is called the Mother's Coffin, and that lasts for 12 actions. Now, the Mother's Coffin, it improves effects based on the target's obsession stacks. So the higher the stacks, the more the effects improve for Kadaj. Now, there are 3 different things that he benefits with the Mother's Coffin. So, to himself, the Self-Stolen Brave Max Brave Overflow limit up starts off at 20% and increases by 5% all the way up to 40%. He also gets a attack up increase starting off at 20% and goes up by 10% up to 60%, and then recovers brave to himself based on the total HP damage dealt, starting off at 20% and then increases by 5% per stack up to 40%. So now we're at the point of the video where I give you guys my honest opinions on said character and whether or not you should pull for that character. Now with Kadaj, you already know that I'm a big fan of the FF7 series, and being my first RPG and first ever Final Fantasy, I am all over said characters of the Final Fantasy 7. So of course I would be going crazy in terms of pulling for said characters from Final Fantasy 7, but because I want to be 100% honest and real with you guys, I am going to say that Kadaj is a possible skip for me, even on global. Reason why? The potency is not there for him. Like, the potency for Kadaj is not there. Like, I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to make his kit unique. They were trying to make him different from other characters in terms of the debuffs that he was providing. And the new golden frame thing was a nice unique thing that they added into the game, and a lot of us thought that maybe for future characters that they would add that to other units, but it doesn't seem like that was the case. It seemed like they only kept it to Kadaj. Now, even when the launch chapter for his event came to JP, they didn't mess with his kit at all. Like, I figured, like, okay, maybe they would give him some extra potency. Maybe they might give him some, you know, a little bit of extra damage to try to help him in the lack of damage that he is not doing at all. And, well, they didn't do anything to the guy, and that's a huge bummer, being a big FF7 fan. Now, with the golden frame debuffs, there is one little trick that you could do with his kit. Now, seeing as how with his spheres, he has 2 A spheres and 1 E sphere. If you were to put a E sphere that has a defense down debuff on said E sphere. So take example Ultimisia. Ultimisia's sphere has a 30% defense down debuff on her E sphere. So if you were to give that to Kadaj, what you could take advantage of is that whenever you use Kadaj and you use his EX ability, that defense down that gets activated whenever you use his EX ability actually becomes a golden frame debuff onto the enemies. So you technically have yourself another golden frame debuff onto the enemies. Also, what you could do as well to add on top of that and increase the defense percentage on that is that you can also add a call ability to that. And Kadaj, what Kadaj would actually do with that is that he would make that defense down debuff a golden framed debuff. So take example with Ferris, right? Ferris has that 70% defense down debuff. So what you could do is after you use Kadaj's skill 1 and then you use his EX ability and then you follow up and you use his you use the Ferris card, right, you would actually be benefiting not from the 30% from Ultimicia's E-Sphere, but actually from Ferris's 70% defense down, and that would be frame. The only downside is that it would not be an AoE one, meaning that it would only be on one target and not everybody, compared to Ultimicia's E-Sphere, where it would actually be on everybody whenever you use Kadaj's EX ability. So I mean, if that is like one little shenanigan that you could do with Kadaj himself. But overall though, as much as I want to pull for him, as much as I do enjoy his kit, because like overall he is a fun character to play around with, but it's just the potency is not there. And like I know that it's not all about, you know, doing damage, it's not all about doing the high numbers, you know, so on and so forth. But the thing is though, like, just from my experiences and from how I use them, or how often I use them in JP, it was little to none that I used them. So I'd rather not waste any resources and maybe just throw probably, I might just do like maybe 100 tickets, maybe just a little bit more, because he is from Final Fantasy 7. But outside from that, I am probably not going to go too crazy for him, just because he, in my opinion, he is lacking so much, and Square Enix has not done anything since his lost chapter in JP to make him a little bit more better, or actually fix him where he could be potentially useful and we could actually take advantage of his framed golden debuff. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys are going to be doing with Kadaj, if you actually are going to pull for him, or what are your thoughts on his kit and, you know, other things related to him. And let me know what you guys think of this bit of a different in-depth video, like the style that I'm doing with it. If you guys want me to continue doing this type of style, or if you guys want me to just go and continue the old style that I was doing. But other than that though, if you guys did enjoy the video, consider liking it and subscribing for future operaomnia content. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in my next video.